Sagot ng mga tao, "Uy, bakit tayo tinatawag ni Sir Rico? Anong problema?"
Happy
So
birthday pala.
when they came in my room, kasi my room is closed, kasi, "Oh, kumusta kayo? Sir, ano pong kasalanan namin?" And I said, "Oh, you see the gifts? That's my birthday gift to you." Oh, ang bait naman ni Sir Rico, napaka-compassionate, something like that,
Oo.
that would change, turn around the impression, but uh, still there, the impression that Rico is tough when it comes to work.
Mm-mm. Welcome and good day. Welcome to the first episode of season 17. This is a new season for the Leader's Edge. And to kick it off, we have with us today an absolutely fantastic person, Mr. Rico Resho, who is currently actually reading his bio. It seems to be he's been in HR since some time now. And currently, he is an HR director. He's also a top HR leader. He was nominated top HR leader in 2023 and a global HR leader in 2020. Now, I'd just like to turn this over to Rico, who can maybe discuss about himself more. Rico?
Okay. Thank you so much for this opportunity, Mr. Paul and Miss Dinah, who really invited me to join this Leadership Edge. No? I am Rico Resho. I'm a psychology graduate with master's in psychology and a diploma in human resources. I'm a first batch, courtesy of PMAP, and my school during the time was Jose Rizal College, but now it's Jose Rizal University. I've been in HR for quite a long time. I think it's about 3 decades. And it's really HR is my passion. And I've been into several industries, namely mining, executive search, FMCG, hotel, and service provider. In terms of my work, um, I've been a lot of doing HR innovations. Ever since I work in a certain company, I see to it that I make some um, capture of a certain uh, innovations, like creativity of that there must be a, most of the time, employee engagement, because in terms of employee engagement, I see to it that employees are really part of this program, uh, because this one is that you could see how really employee engage in the program that HR is being introduced. This is not only for the employees, but this is for the company, for to improve uh, productivity and creativity in the organization. Um, in HR, there are also ups and downs, but when you are on the table of the executives, you should know how to express yourself, and you should be confident in giving some creativity and innovations, because at the end of the day, it is your leadership counts a lot, and it is your responsibility and accountability to really express some innovations in the organization. Um, I think that would I could say for the meantime. So I believe you have some um, more questions about me, Mr. Paul.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you so much. And so it really is today we're talking about HR innovation. Now, you mentioned two very interesting words, and let's start with innovation itself. Innovation is a word that's maybe has become more popular or mainstream with the recent events, especially with COVID. And can you tell me, describe maybe the biggest innovations that are happening today from, I don't know if you want to call it pre-COVID or that time, okay? And then today, what are some of the biggest innovations that either, oh, I'm sorry, both you are implementing and having to face or work with?
Okay, to start with, pre-COVID, uh, you know for the fact that we should be uh, what's this technology itself. Okay, so during the pre-COVID, we have the so-called technology integrations. So there was already human resources information system, the HRIS.
Mm,
Okay, in the HRIS, there is so-called, I think it's not yet doing the AI. Okay,
mhm,
the the AI itself, or the machine that is for learning. Okay. At the same time, during the time, I was able to do also HR analytics. Okay.
mm,
When you say HR
yeah.
analytics, we do implementing data analytics to assess employee performance and engage levels and to make informed decision of the workers. Meaning to say, in the HR analytics, you should have a data to support those things because otherwise, at the end of the day, the management will say, "What is your records or data to show?" Okay, so most
Yeah.
of the time, you have to show data because that will be your instrument and tool that your management will approve your innovations. Okay, and at the same time, uh, other things that I've done, it's about pre-COVID and even post-COVID. There's a so-called flexible work arrangement. Okay,
Mhm,
so we do exercise flexible work arrangement. We don't have remote work, but we do have flexible schedules. Because to give you an example, when I was in the People Solutions, I am handling about 13,000 employees. This is Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. And I travel Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao to check
mm,
my people and to be a present that, oh, the HR is here. We are being visited. You know the feeling that employees are being visited. The dimsim niya, you are being welcomed by the employees. Okay. Uh, pandemic, there is not yet a hybrid work. Okay, it
mhm,
was after pandemic that we exercised the hybrid work schedule. It's a combination of office and some are the remote works. For the remote work employees, there are very selective employees that has to be remote, and some others employees are in the office. Okay, and another thing that I did in the past, learning and development, which is one of my expertise. Okay, when it comes to learning and development, normally it's scheduled for the whole year, and employees are encouraged. The word is really encouraged, and this is through e-learning form because I asked my IT to provide or create something that when they check the website, what are the learnings that can be scheduled on a monthly basis? And on the schedule of that, that was before the pandemic. I have a face-to-face behavioral training. But after the pandemic, during the pandemic, it's about mostly virtual. Okay,
mhm,
so virtual learning and virtual learnings. Okay? Another thing that about my innovations was after because the if you know the diversity, equality, and inclusion
mhm.
before pandemic, it was not yet really exercise. It was
Right.
after pandemic that the DEI was imposed. And in terms of my recruitment, we are not, even the time, we are not very selective. Everybody is welcome for as long you have the skills, the knowledge, and number one for me is
Mm,
attitude. You might have an experience, but if you don't have the attitude, I'm sorry. It's one of my advocacy. If you might have a good uh, educational background experiences,
mhm,
but attitude counts a lot because you are working not only from the lower rank, you're also working from the higher people because in my organization, uh, open communication even to the top management. Um, what else? I do also um, the process of performance evaluation,
Mm.
performance management. I mean, um, for the past years that the companies that I work with, I made some improvement and development because in the past, because other members of the organization doesn't know how to conduct performance management or performance
Mm.
evaluation. So during the time after evaluation, we just signed, but it was not explained. For me, when I introduced the improvement and development of performance evaluation, it's the person who evaluated has to explain to the evaluator, this is my rating to myself. And you have to prove it, whether you agree at the end of the day, because at the end of the day, you will be asked, okay, we agree on this. I don't like three, but I will. You said three, but I could recommend you four, something like that. So it
Right,
has a
right,
collaboration and explanation to both parties that employees are encouraged to explain why did you rate one instead of two, or you rate zero instead of five, something like that. So it's
right.
it's a matter of uh, open communication to employees and to the management. And before I made some innovations, I always have presentation on the table of the management that this is the program and this is the timeline and this is the output because I don't want to I don't want to create something that was not fully discussed with the management. Okay.
Right.
The latest one that we do is the sustainability in HR. When we say sustainability in HR, example, when you're in the office, you are asked, employees are not so resilient on HR. So instead of after work, you have to sustain in terms of putting off the light during break time, putting off or unplug the electric something, okay? And in our mining company, when it came to sustainability because of the workforce, um, concern of the employees and even the management. After you eat, it's like you're in a Jollibee. You just put it the plates and the plates and the cups there. It's no. Employees are required after eating, you have to bring it to a certain area, put the spoon, fork, and plate, something like that, and our plate are keep warm. So it's a sort of employee experience engagement that we have to sustain in terms of uh, the wellness of the employees.
Right, right.
So that's
You
I
know,
would say.
you mentioned many, many things. I really am curious because one of the bigger challenges, and I'm sure you know this through L&D training and HR, is to actually prove a return on investment. For example, if I'm a trainer, I could say, okay, look, they completed the training and they demonstrated the capacity to do X, Y, Z. Okay, for example, this typical output of training. But so sometimes it doesn't quite add up to a monetary result. Okay, typically, how do you deal with that? How do you work with that?
Actually, after learning and development of certain trainings I conducted, so there is a re-evaluation uh, 3 months after to check
Mhm,
what is the gap. Was that the training that was attended was really exercised,
mhm,
executed? Okay, so the role of the HR and the supervisor in the department is to check the skills and knowledge of the person, whether uh, a retain knowledge and exercise the experiences during the training are executed and implemented. So that's the
right,
ROI. Um, you know, the one of the ROIs, of course, is to recognize employees in terms of for a job well done. So Other employees doesn't know how to recognize employees. So it's the role of the HR to really recognize even a simple thing, Mr. Paul, as a tap on the shoulder. It's something
Right.
that you are welcoming and you are recognizing simple things. Okay, but
Right.
in terms of going back on the questions that you're saying, in every training there is a evaluation in
Right.
asking the output of the supervisors and the department and whether do they exercise, do they
Right.
execute, and what are the things that you see uh, uh, areas of improvement. And
Right.
that's the next step of the trainer. What would be a training subject for the certain employees to attend with?
The next, if you want to say, a follow-on training.
Yes.
That's one of the challenges, because I have a facilitator trainer background. Okay. Uh, I trained too many leadership courses. I trained as an external provider. I did some internal training. It was mostly sales and customer service, but that's one of the biggest challenges we faced. I said, from where I'm sitting, the best I can show you is they completed the course and they demonstrated the capacity in the classroom.
Mm-hmm.
That's usually that's as far as I go. Okay, now uh, if we did like that, the 30, 60, 90-day follow through, if you want to say, see if it actually stuck. And then after 90 days, I would usually sign off and say, okay, now it's officially up to you guys, operations, to take care of it from here on because my work is done. Okay, that's
Mm-hmm.
how I worked as an internal trainer. Very common. But there's still that how do you call that? Like you're measuring the wrong thing, if you want to say. You can measure completion rates. You can measure the good score of the test. Okay, you can even measure whether he's doing the act or performing correctly. But what I found out later on was that we had to start figuring out how to measure impact, and I'm talking about financial impact, not just oh cool, what I mean, because especially when you have a lot of e-learning courses, correct? And let's say I'm a higher manager, and one of my KPIs is to make sure that I develop my people, and I have to do this by showing that so many people have taken so many courses. Okay, this sounds quite typical. So let's say I have two people under me. Okay, employee A and employee B. Employee A completes 10 courses and he scores very high, all e-learning. Good job. Okay. Si employee B naman, she only completes 3 courses, does mediocre, but in one of her courses, she actually implemented, and it actually showed that she had an impact of saving $2,500 for the month. Now, I said, in my KPI, I'm failing because she only has 3 courses. Tapos medyo
Mm-hmm.
palpak pa yung score niya. But she actually implemented it. And now look, there's an impact. so there's that, how do we say, there's that, if you want to call it dichotomy, it's different. Okay. So how do you address that? How
Uh,
would you address that?
Actually, for that, in terms of financial, I go further. In every training, there is a budget. Okay.
Of
So in
course, yes.
every training for the whole year, there is a budget, and I have to prove it. Right. I have to prove it and secure a an approval from the, especially for the finance and even
Right.
for the management. And this is part of the budget.
Mhm.
Okay. If there is a budget, it's it's uh it's now it's for us to execute. Now, on the questions that you're raising, for those people in JA and B and the D is not really executing so much, okay? That's the so-called, we call, another approach for that is coaching. Okay. We do the coaching and we do the mentoring. Okay. Coaching is another aspect in terms of the learning and development that he has, that the HR should know how to coach and how to monitor and how to mentor the employees. At the end of the day, you will see what would be the impact of what happened on the past. Because maybe there are things that are not, let's say, for example, it's beyond our control. Of course, you don't have to be so messed up with employees who were not able to achieve what is expected of you. So the next approach that is coaching because um, for employees to be motivated and able to continue his work, it's the role of the HR really to some innovations to create something that employees is would say, "Oh, I am important in the organization. Even if I did something, it's still they are very kind to me because they are very, I would say not soft, but they still care for me because they really want to stay for me. I might not able to perform well, but still they're very considerate to me. So
Mm.
that's what I do in the past and even in the present.
It's and this happened in LinkedIn. Somebody posted a sign that making somebody feel important is a perk in your office. And I wrote back, I said, sana hindi perk. That should be a standard. It
Mm.
shouldn't be a perk. It shouldn't be an extra. Okay, making somebody feel important. And I can't deny that just making somebody feel important, definitely boosts engagement without doubt. Okay. And the thing about making somebody feel important, this is also from my experience because I've worked with a lot of people, especially the how would you say, the single contributors. Okay, I help them express themselves upwards. Okay, for example, let's say for some reason I'm afraid of you. Okay, just for some reason. Okay, and I just simply tell them, "Have you ever told Sir Rico that you're afraid of him? Have you ever said it?
Mhm.
Most likely hindi." Okay, so
Never.
I tell them, if you're afraid of him, tell him. I said, I want to tell you something. Kaya lang, takot ako. Every time I talk to you, I feel like I'm going to get fired or something. So tell him.
Well,
He can't. Go ahead. Yes.
well, for me, um, there are some cases that uh, people may afraid of me,
Mm-mm.
but that's the feeling of employees because they look for me as that I am very tough. Okay,
Yes.
I might be soft spoken outside, but when I work, I'm very tough. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
there was an incident beforehand because every time I call employees, there is an instinct of saying, "Oh, anong kasalanan ko? Bakit ako tinawag ni Sir Rico?"
Go to the principal's office.
Yeah, principal's office, parang in your school, maga-guidance office. And I say to myself, why is it employees has an impression to me that when I call, I will be scolded? Okay. I came to realize, and most of the time I ask na, hey, how am I to the employees? Sir, we don't hear anything. Are you sure? What is the impression of people about me? Sir, others say you are strict, but that's okay. You're strict. Okay. And one of the employee engagement that I did is I didn't announce. Okay. But the first time I did, I'm buying something in my pocket. Okay. Not that the company is giving some birthday gifts. For me, I really buy gifts, excuse
Mm.
me, to the employees. And they say it's a monthly, and I just buy it advance and then I keep it in my room and then suddenly, tawagan mo si Tito, ganito, ganyan, ganyan, ganyan. Sagot ng mga tao, uy, bakit tayo tinatawag ni si Rico? Anong problema?
Happy
So
birthday pala.
when they came in my room, kasi my room is closed, kasi, oh, kumusta kayo? Sir, ano pong kasalanan namin? And I said, uh, you see the gifts? That's my birthday gift to you. Oh, ang bait naman ni si Rico, napaka-compassionate. Something like that.
Uh-uh.
That would change, turn around the impression. But uh, still there, the impression that Rico is tough when it comes to work.
Mm-mm.
But it was turned around that Every month I do that, Mr. Paul. And it
Uh,
came to know that the management says, nalaman ng boss ko, CEO, Rico, come to my office. Ah, anong didiscuss natin, sir? Halika, come to my office. Parang galit pa siya. What am
Tapos
I?
ikaw, anong kasalanan ko sa isip mo?
Hindi. Hindi ko siya ginanon. No, I don't. Kasi, sir, anong meeting? Oh, you sit down. May pag-uusapan tayo. Sir, seryoso ka ha? Bigong ganun. What's the problem? Oh, no problem, sir. Nire-recognize ka lang ni mama at ng mga kapatid ko na napakabait. Sir, para saan? Na mga employees nire-regalan mo every birthday. Ah, well, wala yun, sir. Okay lang yun. I just want to, you know, uh, I just want to be close to employees. But of course, Mr. Paul, my limitations. Okay? I might be close, but there is be a limitations. And that creates me a good clout in the organization. So when I made that na natutuwa yung boss ko, pati yung mother, you know what they did? Bigla ako sinama free lunch in a buffet.
Oh,
Sabi ko, wow, ikaw ganun. So that's my reward to myself. So that's the
you know,
one that I did.
there was one organization I was with. There are about 3,000. Oh, here in the Philippines, there are about 600 strong, but globally, mga 3 to 5,000. Not as big as yours. But the one thing that I really appreciated was the country manager. On your birthday, you would get a card signed by her, literally. And it wasn't a stamp, Talaga, you could say it was her pirma. So sabi ko, even if it's a standard greeting, let's say from an Eraman happy birthday card, no? Naka-Eraman pa yung, basta nakapirma yung na talagang pirma niya. It meant a lot. It was such a small gesture, but it also meant a lot, no? That, hey, at least she signed it, no?
Mhm.
But even those small things definitely help. And that brings me to the question. Let's talk a little bit about first speaking up now. Now, admittedly, single contributors or people who report upwards, they really have a hard time speaking up. Lalo sa kultura natin, where we're very, how do you call it, hierarchical, no? We're very, and the challenge there is how the bosses wield their power. Okay, when I say their power, your title already gives you power. I don't care what you say. If I look at you, oh, HR director, I said, wow, I could see kagad you have power. And it becomes even more emphatic when you're the one controlling my increase, my bonus, lahat yan. No, so it becomes there's already that barrier. So it's for the bosses. I tell them, hey, look, your ability to drive engagement is very behavioral. It's not. I'm a nice guy. You can talk to me. Saying it means nothing. You have to be able to behave correctly that they get that feeling, no? And then for the guys below, I tell them you have to speak up. Now the challenge we have here is yes, speak up, but how good are the bosses at listening down?
Mhm.
Okay. And sometimes they don't do it on purpose. Okay. It's just that their nature, they're very busy. You knock on their door, they've got a big problem in their mind and say, Sir Paul, I need to talk to you. Not now. Oh, sige, come in, come in, come in. And you say he's not listening anyway, no? Okay. Excuse me.
Well, it
But that
happens.
happens.
It
It
happens.
does. It does. Okay. And so when I work with the bosses, I tell them, look, your difficulty is you have to learn how to listen down. Okay. Now I'm not saying you don't, or maybe your intent is to, but paminsan-minsan yung dating nyo is you're not listening. Okay. So it becomes difficult in that sense. So that's one thing that it has to be worked on if I say. But another thing about engagement, and this is a curious one, I think we started measuring engagement more than 20 years ago, I think.
Yeah.
And the number really hasn't budged. Andun pa rin. It's still at 30 to 35% engaged. Okay. I said,
Yes.
so despite all of these efforts, what's going on? Because I was having a conversation on LinkedIn and I said, hey, look, it's been like this since forever. Tama? And I said, in a very simple analogy, if 35% of your workforce is disengaged, we can come to the conclusion that the majority of companies would have disengaged employees and should be failing, but they're not. Okay, so something else is going on. Tapos may sumagot. Well, there was one company that paid me a lot of money to shut up and keep my head down. But given that, especially with engagement, what are your feelings about engagement? And I know it's important, I do, but the engagement doesn't seem to be going anywhere. It's still there between 30 to 35%.
Mhm. Well, for me, when it comes to engagement, I normally have the so-called employee survey. Okay,
Mm.
from the employee survey, you will see you will see what is in their mind. Okay, they are being encouraged. What is your thoughts? What do you want the HR to improve? What are what are the company's needs to improve for employees? Because employees are the one doing the legwork. Okay,
Of course.
so if on the employee survey, you will see the concern about learning and development, the concern of empathy, the concern of wellness of the employees, the concern of work-life balance. So all of these things. So from there, I made a summary. This is actual experience, Sir Paul. I made a summary on the employee survey that, and from the survey, I made a presentation to all employees because I see to it that employees are really engaged. Everybody's are being present, and there is an attendance. There is an attendance that you attend the employee engagement on the survey. So when I presented all of the stuff, and and there was a reaction that says, "Sir, how are we going to do this?" Well, the HR will take the lead, and you guys take the opportunity. Because if you will not take the opportunity, you are not engaged. Meaning to say, wala kang pakialam. Okay?
Mm.
HR is doing everything for you to partake on this engagement. But kung wala kang pakialam, bakit ka natin dito? At saka bakit ka nag-present dito? And then you responded on the survey. So it's the role of the HR leader to execute, communicate, collaborate with you guys. And at the end of the day, after 3 months or after 6 months, you know, I might have a failure pero sabi ko sa akin in my HR experience ko, siguro I'm very fortunate that the engagement that I introduced to the companies that I work with are affectionated and very uh, tawag doon, absorbed by the employees because
Mhm.
they need, alam mo mga employees kulang sa pansin, 'di ba? Kailangang pansinin. So, yung mga gano'n. So, with that thoughts, nagkaroon sila ng pansin kasi I would say the word kulang sa pansin, it's because it's the role of the supervisor. How do they supervise the staff, their employees? Because I said, guys, supervisor, when they attended the basic supervisory to me, you have to talk to yourself. Am I good supervisor? Am I good am I good employee? Am I good manager to my staff? Am I masungit? Am I mapagbigay ba? So you ask yourself, and when I do that, nagtatawa. Nabi ko, ba't kayo nagtatawa? So ibig sabihin, totoo yung sinabi ko. Sabi ko gano'n sa kanila. And I said to them, "Sir, may puntos ka. You see, tumbok ko na nasampal na kita, nasuntok pa kita sa mukha because you are not exercising." So, with that engagement kasi, I see to it that really, hindi lang 100%, 120%. And Paul, I'm really fortunate that the companies that I work, I was able to really engage that the programs that I have was executed and
Mhm.
exercised by the employees.
I see that a lot. And to go to one of the challenges trainers face is Lalo sa leadership, no? You tell them all these wonderful things in the classroom, they do well in the exercises. Kaya lang when they go back to the office or to work, tama,
Mm.
the culture or the system doesn't support what they learned.
Mm.
Okay? So for example, then si Bisos, kulang sa pansin sa mga tao, good old KSP, no? Eh
Mm.
mamaya, sa kanya mismo, kulang yung pansin yung boss niya sa kanya.
Mm.
Okay? And you know, it's the supervisor for me is the worst place you'll ever be in your career because it's a big shock to your system, no? Okay. You feel so good, but then all of a sudden you realize you get blamed for everything. You know, lahat yung request mo all denied. so, so you begin to feel like you're really struggling, and then when parang nobody's there to help you. Now, of course, there are a lot of other dynamics involved, but for me, there's also that system issue or that culture issue in all organizations that tama si kulang sa pansin, but where did they get that behavior from?
I
Okay, so for
believe,
example,
I
yes,
believe,
go ahead.
Sir Paul, nakuha nila kasi yan before because I believe the previous HR leader that I have, it's not that expressive as I am, it's not as assertive as I am. Na the previous HR that I have is not approachable, not innovative, and not creative enough to give them the expression na you supervisor should do this, should do this, should do that. Okay? HR will support you. Okay? Yun ang isang inadequacies ng ibang supervisors and even HR leader doesn't know how to innovate, doesn't know how to support the employees and even the supervisors and the manager. So ano yan sir eh? Strategy mo yan eh for you the employees na maging hindi naman mapagmahal or meron kang the word sir eto na malasakit.
Mm.
Okay?
Ah,
So
okay.
the HR malasakit goes in. Kaya ako ini-inculcate ko palagi yung HR malasakit and employee malasakit. I have a session on that previously when you say malasakit, that's one of the core values of the organization. So I made some presentation, it's about a whole day. So I'll give some scenario, I give some exercises. At the end of the day, oh ngayon, sabi ko, what do you feel now?
Mm.
Yeah. So there are a lot of reactions. So from there, you will see yung mga kulang sa pansin, you will realize, ay, oo nga, tama si Sir. Sabi ko, you are not reading because reading makes you good and you are not expanding your horizon. Kumbaga parang nasa four corners ka lang, kung anong dumating, yun lang. You are not exploring things, new things about yourself and other people. Kaya na-install ko yung HR malasakit. Kasi sabi ko, you know the values of the company, malasakit. Ano naging malasakit mo? So from there, yun, na-realize ko.
You know, that's one thing that I know several companies or these companies that work. Some companies get it right. Even just the simple concept of leadership. No, it's usually trained as for an individual. Okay, and there's always this beautiful romantic image of the leader coming in and saving the company. No, that's always there. No, but at the end of the day, a leadership shouldn't be taught on a personal level. Leadership should be a system issue. Okay, just like malasakit. Malasakit should be a system issue. It should be in the system. So kahit you hire somebody na hindi malasakit, the system can correct it. Okay, all right. And that's one of the challenges I think some companies face is they're still seeing it as not a system issue. They're still seeing it as an individual, maybe competency issue, and they train it that way. Mali. There should be no. It should be part of the system. Na so kahit you have somebody na hindi malasakit naturally, he'll learn it because that's the culture of the organization.
Yeah.
He just has to follow what's going on, no? So that's one of the things that I think organizations should be doing. Okay, just kind of separate it. I mean, the leadership training will still be there, and all the other training, yes, but you have to view it as a system issue. Okay, So anyway, pretty much those are my thoughts about how to do this now. But let's continue more about the innovation part. Other than the remote work and work from home, which you spoke about, what are some of the big innovations coming up now with AI and everything else?
Uh, the biggest right now is using using the so-called the the chat box,
Mm.
the what you call this
ChatGPT.
ChatGPT, right?
Yes.
But this is only being used for certain matters that you think it's more appropriate, and chatting at GPT is really ano lang yan, additional information. So you just only
Mm.
type what you want. It's only a matter of you just give an idea, but still it's the employee who will execute it, how will you deliver something.
Mm.
Another one I have is that that's the so-called yung uh HR process automations. Okay?
Right.
When the HR process automation, when we call the so-called robotic process automation, it's about doing some repetitive functions, but
Mm.
in such this is just only a matter of doing let's say for example onboarding process. So this is very repetitive, every month
Right.
you do onboarding process. Okay.
Uh,
So it's just that you make some automation on this for that it's just to play something like that, no? And it will not be a hard and hard and fail for you for a person to do that, just
yeah.
continue it lang. Oh,
Yeah.
and then another one is that when it comes to performance management, that what I did is because the past companies that I with, they're not doing 660 degrees per feedback. Okay.
360.
So that it's
Uh-huh.
new, yeah, that's new one. Um uh During the process of the probationary employees, it was discussed on the orientation that there will be a 360 degrees feedback, meaning to say you will be evaluated by your co-employees, your subordinates, your supervisor, and the top. Meaning to say is for you to know whether um, you're able to have a good relationship. You will be evaluated by your peers, and this is to get a holistic employee performance. Because
Right.
if you were not be able to do this, that's the so-called because normally we do evaluate on the third month and the fifth month. Okay, so the 360 degrees is being exercised. It's being done for the employees to be aware and knowledgeable about that because when you do the onboarding there are some employees that are not properly oriented. Okay, so to that employees are already aware that they're doing such things as this. Para naman yung alam mo yung makotinda ako, ay hindi naman in-explain sa akin na. Employees will
Uh,
employees will say,
of course.
you know, employees will say, I don't understand that because it was discussed to me before. So, dito pa lang, so onboarding process,
Uh,
dinidiscuss na something like that. So, I think I could have in terms of HR innovations that I have in the past and even in the present. Okay? Because I do that also. I think I discussed already the employee feedback. Right? And another one which I did not expand so much is the diversity, equality, and inclusion. That's one
mhm.
HR innovations that we do. As I mentioned, um, we accept talents, whatever is your age, whatever is your religion, whatever is your demographics, as long as you fit in the organization. And I said uh, whatever is your educational background, the attitude counts a lot. Okay? So that's it. Okay? And we do a lot of, we do also BI analytics using this to measure whether the employees that was engaged are really accepted in the department.
Mhm.
Okay? Kasi there are the departments will say, ay, ayoko sa kanya kasi batik siya or lesbian siya. No, it's not. We have a policy. Because the DEI, we have a policy on that. All employees are oriented on the policies. Okay? Because at the end of the day, employees are being signed that I understand,
Mm.
I will execute, and I will follow the rules. Right? So all policies uh, that I made, approval by the top management, and then execute.
You know, when it comes to DEI, at least in that sense, not being accepted or the feeling of not being accepted is there are many other ways that can happen.
Mm.
Okay. There are many other ways. Now, for example, I join a group and because I speak really good English, parang they don't want to talk to me. Okay. That's one. No? Or let's say the boss has a couple of of buddies who they all go smoke together. Tama?
Mhm.
Okay. Well, maybe now smoking isn't very common, but about 10, 15 years ago it was. Hey guys, let's all go smoke. And they went down and smoked. Tama?
Mm.
And you can see them talking and you're not too sure what they're talking about. Okay. Then they come back upstairs if you have a feeling you were excluded from the conversation. That's another one. Even in whether you have a team of 10 or 20, sometimes there are these natural cliques that form. Okay. And you not being able to join them or you feeling unwelcome in other ways other than DEI is also part of how you say engagement, if all of that.
Well,
And
for me
that does
kasi,
happen.
for me kasi, Paul, in a certain group, let's say for example, I said, kasi ako napaka-outspoken ko kasi, I normally say, who are guys smoker here? Pag sabi ng totoo, because sabi magre-raise, very good. May ka-jobbing na ako. Kaya pala si Sir nagtatanong kung sino smoker. Kasi mahanap siya ng joiner. So it's sort of, uh, so you have to look for a circle of friends na who are smokers and non-smokers. Okay. For the non-smokers kasi, I normally, pagka non-smokers, tara kape tayo. Sino mga hindi nag-smoke? Sir, ako, totoo ka, nakita ka na nag-smoke, kaya ko ganun. So yung mga non-smoker, I'm very innovative in terms of, alika, yung mga hindi nag-smoke, alika, coffee tayo. Sir, libre mo? Oo, kaya nga ako nagyayaya. So that's one thing that you have a circle of friends or nagkaroon na kasi ako ng friends ng coffee friends. Kasi ito yung mga non-smokers. Pag sinabi mong smokers, sir, sabi nga nagtatampo yung iba, sir, bakit sila na non-smoker, nagkakape sila? Ay tayo, sir, nag-i-smoke. Hindi ba tayo magkakape?
You have to stop smoking.
sabi ko, sabi ko, pwede naman, sige, coffee tayo mga smokers. Pero ano to ha, once or twice lang for the next time, kayo naman maglilibre. I said, wala problema. So you sort of, how will you innovate yourself in making a circle of friends na si ganito ganyan, si ganito ganito. So you have to fit in the group that would say, kung di smokers, o di sige, ibang gagawin ko. If you're a smoker, iba rin ang gagawin ko. My purpose of that is that I want to engage with the employees. Okay? And another thing is, I want to belong with them. Kasi alam mo, may mga employees na, ayoko dyan kasi mga smokers yan eh. Oh, gusto ko dun kasi hindi sila smoker. So that's the purpose of it. Okay? So mayroong mga single, that I did another one is that single day. I recognize all the single. Okay? It's not only the Mother's Day, it's not only the Father's Day, but all the singles. So that's one of other engagement, one of another innovations that I did. That's why uh nagkakaroon ako ng feeling of that these people are hindi sila sinesegregate, hindi sila sineseparate. Everybody are accepted. So that's my thought.
All right. Okay, good. It's I'm happy. There's a very good example. Do you know Tom Brady?
Who?
Is Tom Brady? He's one of the
Familiar.
best he's one of the best American football players ever.
Yeah.
Okay, very, 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 very famous, no? And even at the height of his fame, sabi nila, then when a new person joins his team, he will always go out and say, "Hi, I'm Tom Brady," and shake the guy's hand, even though the guy knew who he was. You know what I mean?
Mm-mm.
He said, at least he goes out and says, "Hey, look," you know. So even small gestures like that, because I've worked in companies where there was a very obvious, how do you say, parang clique that the manager and his favorite supervisors would always be, and they were pretty much the smokers, tama.
Mm-mm.
Every time they run off, they all run down, and you hear them chatting. They come back, they're laughing, and everybody else is looking at them a little funny.
Mm-mm.
So, yung mga ganon. And it just happens, no. So part of the, how do you call the, because DEI is diversity, equity, and inclusion. Part of the feeling included is that capacity of not just you, but the supervisor, the managers, and everybody else to make new people feel that they are inclusive, that they are
Yes.
included,
Yeah.
that they're part of the team. No? And
Correct.
a smart supervisor will know that there are people who smoke, that there are people who they're singles, there are things like that, and he should be able to find a way to make sure that kahit yung bago, they feel like they're welcome, they're included,
Yes.
and all of that.
Yeah.
And that is a skill in itself. Okay, but you know, is there anything else that you'd like to share with us?
I think that's all I
Other
could,
Okay,
the things that I have.
maybe you'd like to invite some of our listeners to, if you have a PMAP event coming up, for them to join or something.
Okay. Hello, fellow HR and viewers of this leadership heads. I'd like to invite you uh, for for this engagement. Okay, and I'm pretty much very helpful to uh, to to innovate with you. And currently, I engage with Miwari HR Consulting. We are I'm a global HR leader, HROP consultant for that, and we are now starting our project specifically for Visayas and Mindanao, okay? Because others are in Metro Manila, so we'd rather have it outside Manila because there are only few of us or really are doing some consulting in Visayas and Mindanao. So
Okay.
that's it.
Okay. Sir Rico, thank you so much for making time for us today for the Leader's Edge. It was truly, truly, it was fascinating talking to you. And one day I'd like to have coffee with you. I don't smoke.
Sure.
Although I come from an era of smoking. My parents smoked. Okay. I don't mind the smoke, but I personally don't smoke. But,
I see, I
but
see.
thank you so much for making time. I enjoyed our conversation. I enjoyed the depth and the quality of the conversation. And to all our viewers, our next guest will be Ruby Haushan. She was actually a guest sometime earlier, and she'll be talking about transitions and personal transformation. Just stay posted for the updates on this event. Please, 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 if you enjoyed what you liked and heard what you liked, please click on the subscribe, like, and follow buttons at the bottom. And as usual, learning is a never ending journey with limitless vistas.